Welcome everyone to creating a lean, mean marketing machine. We have Score Boston's very own Rob Stutzman. He is among other skills that he has, a marketing whiz, and he's going to share what he knows with you today. But as we get going, just in case you're new to Score, we would like to tell you quickly about us. The most important thing that SCORE does is the sharing of information to the small business community. And we do that in three different ways. One is through our website, score.org. Lots of great information for you to look at, templates that you can download, and not just business templates, marketing templates, and cash flow, budgeting, business plans, you name it. Lots of templates for you to download. There's blogs you can read, articles, pre-recorded workshops, all kinds of information. Strongly encourage you to take a look around. The other thing we share information is through our workshops and webinars. We do send out a newsletter quite regularly to make sure you know what's coming up for us here locally. So watch for that. If you miss our newsletter, you can always go to the website and look under local workshops to see what's coming up. The most important thing that we do, or at least I think so, is our mentoring. Our mentoring is free because our mentors are volunteers. They have a variety of different skills and backgrounds, and they come to us because they want to share with you what they've learned through their successes and what they've learned through their failures. We work with folks that are trying to decide if small business ownership is right for them. We're working with those that are in that planning phase, and we're working with those that are already in business. Whether that in business is struggling or growing, we have mentors that can help you. So a beginning session usually runs in the 45-minute time frame, plus or minus. They want to know about you. They want to know what your goals are, what your challenges are, so that they can work with you to come up with a plan to overcome those challenges and work towards those goals. The nice thing about SCORE is that when you meet with one of our mentors, you're meeting with a team. They have a team behind them, and they do ask each other questions and work with each other to make sure that we're giving you all the best possible information that we can. So getting a mentor is very easy. You can use the QR code on the screen or go to the score.org website. There's a blue box, type in your zip code, and that will match you to the chapter that's nearest you. They're then going to ask you a couple questions. That information will then be used to decide which mentor to start you with. So please consider reaching out to a SCORE mentor. It's I think a wonderful experience, and people come away surprised at all the things that they learn. So today we do have a pretty decent crowd with us today. So we are going to be relying on that Q&A button. That Q&A button is on your Zoom bar, and that will be for questions you want asked to the presenter. Everything else can go into chat. But if you have a question for the presenter, please use that Q&A button, and we will try and answer as many questions as we can. Sometimes we can't quite get to them all, but we will absolutely try. We are recording today, so give me about 24 to 40 hours. It'll be on the score.org/Boston website. As you can see by the graphic there, under the local workshops on the blue bar, go down to previously recorded webinars, and that's where it will be, and you can watch it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my share down, and I'm going to turn it over to Rob.
All right. Thank you very much, Teresa. And happy Friday, everyone. We're so glad that you decided to join this webinar. We're 54 strong, so this is definitely a popular topic among small businesses. So we're glad to be able to present it to you. We call the course Creating a Lean, Mean Marketing Machine, but really what we're going to be talking about is marketing planning, and then using it, a new approach that may be new to some folks on the call here, called DMAIC, the DMAIC methodology. And so it may help you come away with a different way of looking at marketing your business. and being able to provide you with some helpful tips on how to really get organized in the field of marketing for your business. A little bit about myself. I was with Verizon for 30 years. I led global teams in marketing initiatives and had just a wonderful career there and learned a lot about sales and marketing through the organization. When I retired, I set up for myself a private consulting business, which I have on the side. But mostly what I do is counseling with SCORE. And I am a subject matter, I'm a mentor, but a subject matter expert within the organization. My focus is on marketing and social media, where I chair the committee for the chapter. And if you need to get a hold of me, there's my email, and you can also find me out on LinkedIn as well. That's a little bit about myself. How about a little bit about you guys? Uh, who are you, and what is your small business? And what do you hope to get out of this webinar? If you guys would use the chat, that would be awesome. That would give us an idea of um, a little bit about our audience. I like to know who people are and what they do so that I can aim, target my comments accordingly. And I don't know, Teresa, do you see any chats coming in or? There we go. Okay. Okay. So we've got some retailers out there, probably some service businesses. We've got some people that are probably involved in online selling, online marketing. That's great. More services. We've got technical services. We've got e-commerce. We've got a wide variety. Manufacturing. That's great. Um, and a lot in the professional area, and even some dealing with in the public sector with government. Uh, this is awesome. Thank you so much. This is great. Okay. Um, the other thing that would be very helpful would be if you would take a poll, and Teresa will bring up the poll. What we want to know is what sales and marketing methodology do you currently use? Are you a highly structured marketing plan? Do you spray and pray? Do you smile and dial? Do you do it by the seat of your pants? Do you use DMAIC? And you maybe you're just wondering, gee, I didn't even know there was a methodology. Or maybe it's none of the above, or maybe it's some unique methodology that you use that helps your business. So go right ahead and fill out the poll. And Teresa will let it run for a period of time. And then we will close it down and take a look at the results. I can do the Jeopardy song. Do, 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 boom, boom. All right, Teresa, what do we have for results? Okay, let's see. Highly structured, 10%. That's good to hear. It's great to hear, actually. Spray and pray, yes. I'm a little bit of a spray and pray kind of person myself. I'm very chaotic. Just put anything out there and just hope something sticks. Smile and dial. Smile and dial used to be very heavy in business because a lot of businesses dealt with telemarketing and telesales. That's changed. A lot more people today are relying on online marketing and digital marketing and e-commerce. That's the days of telemarketing are waning. Seat of my pants, yes, I can totally understand that. And those questioning that there is yes, there is a methodology, and hopefully by the end of this webinar, you'll have a good, solid understanding of the DMAIC methodology. And then none of these. So some people are actually have none of the above, and then some have their own unique approach. And it would be interesting to hear what your approach is that would be interesting and outside of what you see on the screen here. Okay, great. That's wonderful. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about DMAIC. And if you are from a manufacturing background, you may have heard of the term DMAIC as it relates to lean manufacturing. But we're going to talk about it. There's 5 elements. There's the define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And we have a free offer for you at the end of the webinar. So, creating a lean marketing plan, I mean, marketing is hard and planning is hard. And you're in small businesses, you're running small businesses, you're the chief executive officer, the chief financial officer, the chief marketing officer, the chief sales officer. You wear a lot of hats. And so when it comes to marketing, marketing is hard. It's not an easy, I just put a website up on the internet and people come find me. There's a lot of effort that needs to be put behind your marketing planning. You need to do it, but you don't know where to start. That's why we're here, and that's why SCORE is here to help small businesses who have great ideas and they have a dream. We hope to make their dreams a reality. And then certainly there's got to be a better way. Zig Ziglar is a very famous sales guy, used to give a lot of sales seminar, and he had a very famous saying that it says, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. And the guy on the right has got kind of the spaghetti technique where you just throw anything against the wall and just hope something sticks. So for those that might be frustrated, we introduce you to DMAIC, which is a data-driven process improvement methodology that focuses properly on properly defining your goals, measuring your progress, determining root causes of challenges, developing and implementing a solution, and verifying that it continues to be effective over time. You see that the DMAIC schematic here is circular. It's a cycle. It's a cycle that you continue to run through. You'll run through it initially, and then you'll make tweaks to your plan along the way. And so you're constantly in this mode of defining, measuring, analyzing, improving, and controlling. The benefits is that it helps you understand what you want to do and where you want to go. It's data driven. You're going to be dealing with data involved with your business. It helps you measure success or failure. Oftentimes I'll ask small businesses that I counsel with, what is it, what aspect of your business do you use? What metric do you use to determine whether you are succeeding or failing? And oftentimes I get a blank stare. I get people that I don't know. I don't know why I'm succeeding. I don't know why I'm failing. This process will help you measure success and failure so you know the answer to that question. It helps you identify root causes of your challenges. And we'll talk about a couple of tools to help you do that. It helps you think outside the box, and it allows you to expand your ideas and look to see what are some things you could do that if time and money were not a factor, what could you do? And it helps to ensure sustainability. It's a proven discipline process. And when you succeed, you know exactly why you succeeded. And when you fail, you know exactly why you failed. I mentioned that this methodology is borrowed from manufacturing, where they're talking about, if I have a number of widgets that I'm manufacturing and I have defects along the way, if I can reduce the amount of defects, I improve my throughput and I improve my yield, and ultimately I succeed. You can apply those same principles within marketing. We did it within Verizon to great success. It's important to understand that marketing is a process. The first thing you're doing is you're identifying an opportunity and you're analyzing a market. Now, you may have gone into business because you had an idea or you had a desire, but you probably also went into business because you saw that there was a potential market for what you have to offer. And so you need to analyze that market. You need to take a look at the landscape from a competitive perspective and understanding what is your competitor within the market. Even if it's you offer something completely unique, you still have competition, and that competition is the individual who's not willing to say yes to your service or product. So it's important to do a competitive assessment. You with this process, you continue to optimize your solution and strategy, and then you optimize it through a variety of different ways. So what are the key elements of the define phase? The define phase deals with your current state. So your current state is what you are today. So if I'm selling widgets, I'm selling 100 widgets per month today. What's your desired future state? The future state is at some point in the future, and this is something you're going to set, but you might say at this time a year from now, I expect to be selling 200 widgets per month. So you have a current state, you have a desired future state, and then what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Do you want to increase sales? Do you want to reduce costs? Do you want to improve visibility? Do you want to expand your addressable market? And whatever it is, get it down in writing by creating a marketing charter. And we're going to talk a little bit about a marketing charter here. The marketing charter starts with a problem statement. What is my business challenge? Is my business challenge that people don't know who I am or where to find me? Is my business challenge that I have an expensive product that people aren't willing to buy? Is my business challenge that I am in a highly competitive market and I'm having a hard time differentiating myself within that competitive market? You move on to a business, you create a business case, which is, why should I even execute this planning? You want to make sure you spend a lot of time on your marketing charter because that's going to be the document that you use to ensure that you're aiming at something, that you're not just aiming at nothing, but you're aiming at something. And then come up with the project objective. What's the aim of this project? Come up with the plan description. How do you describe it? Decide on what's the scope. Even though the world is your oyster, even though you can sell your product or service anywhere within the world, that may not be realistic. And the scope of which you can focus on may be more geographically narrow. It may be that really I'm just selling within a local market. I can't sell worldwide or nationwide. So there are going to be some things that you include. There's going to be some things you exclude. And the reason for that is so that you make sure that you're honing your focus, that you're not trying to address too many things all at once. Um, Determine what support is required. There may be some support that can be provided internally within your business. You may have to rely on some external entities to support what you have done. So this helps you identify who are your internal and external entities. What are my risks and constraints? The risk could be financial, they could be environmental, they could be legal. So what are the things that I risk by implementing this plan? And who are my additional team members? Who will help me? There's a lot of people in small business that do a lot of networking. And so sometimes your best team member can be somebody that you met at a networking event. And you can bounce ideas off of each other. You can certainly come to SCORE. We can sit down. We can talk about what you want to do, and we can provide input for your plan as well. We're happy to do that. What are your expected benefits, both tangible and intangible? And what are your expected business results? What do you hope to gain by implementing this plan? You'll then move on to the measure phase. And the measure phase, the key here is setting up a baseline, and that's your current state. In my current state right now, what is my baseline? And I might, put that in sales. I might consider that in expenses. I might consider that in market share. I could use leads, I could use revenue. There's any number of different metrics that can be used. So determine what metrics you want to use, and then determine if you have existing reporting to support your metrics. Because DMAIC is very data driven, it's very dependent upon data. And so if you have a system you can turn to that provides you with metrics, that'll help you establish that baseline. And then, or do you need to create some new reporting to measure the business? So for instance, we talked about we have 100 leads a month. The sources I have that I can turn to are my website, Google Analytics, or my CRM system. So I've got the the platform I can use to come up with my metrics. I've got perhaps a pattern. Maybe my leads fluctuate seasonally. Maybe I'm offering something that is very hot within the summer, but very cool within the winter and spring time frame. And so there may be a certain pattern established to your sales or your leads. And then, plan to gather the key metrics from your internal systems. Do the best you can to do it on a weekly basis. The reason you want to do it on a weekly basis is because, number one, it's going to get you into a system. It's going to get you into a habit. It's going to get you into a measure of doing something on a cadence on a weekly basis. And it's going to help you identify some things early on that if you did it monthly, you might have had something happen early this month that you're not catching for another month. So if you, as best you can, if you could do it on a weekly basis, that works really well. As we mentioned, baselines can be revenue, sales, appointments, whatever is meaningful to you and to your business. So now we move on to the analyze phase. As the analyze phase is the challenges your business is facing. How long has it been a challenge? What do you think the cause is? Observe issues facing the business. Maybe you've had a competitor come into your market. So now all of a sudden you have an external threat. Whereas I was selling into this particular market virtually with a low competition. Now I suddenly have more competition within my market. So observe the issues that are going on. Governmental issues. If the government changes a regulation, that regulation could impact your business. And so understand what external factors are coming in and affecting your business. Develop theories about root causes. Just think about, why do I think I'm having such a hard time generating sales? Put that down in writing. Come up with as long a list as you possibly can as to why you think you're not seeing the amount of sales that you would like to see. Confirm the theories with data. As again, we talk about DMAIC, very data driven. Whatever data you're using to measure your business, you're also going to use to analyze your business. And a couple of tools that can help you along the way. The first is a fishbone diagram, and the second is the 5 whys. The fishbone diagram is broken down into categories of materials, measurement methods, machines, environment, and people. So when you think about your business and you think about what's affecting your business, whatever it is that you come up with probably falls under one of these categories. A lot of times, as we talked about, the environment, recession, COVID certainly was an environmental factor that came in that impacted business. People could be an issue. People are not finding me. I'm not visible enough. Methods, the website may be a little cumbersome. Maybe I need to redo my website to make it easier to do business with me. But going through and coming up with these will get you down to what your root cause is and will help you then to begin to address it. The 5 whys are exactly that. It's asking yourself, you have a particular problem, such as you're not selling enough. So you're not selling enough. Why? Well, because you're not able to produce more. Well, why aren't you able to produce more? Because we have reached our production capacities. Well, why have we produced our production capacities? Because we don't have enough developers. Well, why do we have not enough developers? We have used the budget for training. And why have we used the budget for training? The CFO cut it in order to save money. So, it's again taking a look at the problem or issue that you're facing and continuing to ask yourself why. The more whys you ask, and usually five's enough. By the time you get to the fifth why, you have a good understanding of what is impacting your business. So from there, you'll then move on to the improve phase. And the improve phase is my favorite. It's the fun phase. It's where you brainstorm with yourself or you brainstorm with others. And you ask yourself this question: if money and time were no issue, what would I do? Would I have an infomercial on TV? Would I take out an ad in the Boston Globe? Would I, what would be some ideas that I would do? Would I give away a promotion, a free service of my business? What out of the box ideas do you have? It's all about just letting ideation roam. Just let it go, and then gather ideas from some others. You have a business, you have friends and family, hopefully, and they are interested in your business. They're interested in your success. Bounce off to them. What ideas do they have if they take a look at your business, and what ideas can be implemented quickly? Um, if you've come up with an idea that can be implemented quickly, you can establish for yourself a quick win. And a quick win is where you see a boost in your current state because of some action you've taken. And what's the risk of implementing a new idea? And which one should I choose first? And an element that can, or a tool that can help you evaluate that is the payoff matrix. So you take a look at what the idea is, you size the benefit of what you can see from it. You look at the difficulty or cost to implement your idea. And if an idea costs little and derives big benefits, it would be rated high. And if an idea costs little but is too difficult to implement, it would be rated low. And so you're looking for those that have high benefit and as well as low difficulty as far as implementing that. And the sooner you can do it, the quicker you can get to a quick win. You then move on to the control phase. The control phase is the guardrails that you put around your business to ensure that you don't veer off course. You be hopefully what you've been doing all along within this process is documenting, because it's your reference point. You could see, gee, we started out really well, and then all of a sudden we seem to be off track. Why is it that we're off track? Well, if you've documented some things along the way, you'll begin to see, oh, we had planned to do this, but now we're doing that. We need to get back to our plan. We need to get back to our marketing charter to make sure we stay on course. And then monitor your business to ensure you're aiming at your goals, and then continue to ideate. Business isn't static. Business is ever changing. And opportunities come, opportunities go, markets come, markets go. When markets come, you can you immediately jump on it because you understand how you can get into that particular market and how you can offer goods and services within that market that generate revenue for you. So continue to, as I mentioned, DMAIC is a cycle. You continue to run through that cycle as you run your business. The control phase requires an action plan, and you look for differences in your measurement data. You take action, based on an observed difference. You determine your root cause. You implement a course correction, and then you look for future differences in the measurement data. Again, if you are measuring your business on a weekly basis, you're going to see things come on the horizon and be able to correct them. Then if you waited longer than that, and by the time you saw it, it ended up being too late. So continue to measure your business. That keeps you on track. So here's our free offer. We want to provide you with help. If you got a benefit out of this webinar, send me an email, and in the subject line, just put "send me a template," and I will send you a marketing plan template, and I will provide you with free counseling to get you up and running on your particular marketing template. So we want to help you hit a bullseye every time. And the reason I am so passionate about this particular methodology is because I've seen it work over and over again. And it works with multi-billion-dollar corporations like Verizon. It works with small businesses and solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. Everyone can benefit from DMAIC and implementing that within your business. So with DMAIC methodology, it's all about using data-based scientific methods to hit a bullseye within your addressable market every time. So with that, do we have any questions, Teresa?
I did, but apparently you answered it. So I don't have any questions.
Okay.
But if anyone does have a question, yeah, please go ahead and put it into Q&A. Oh, I think I saw something go through chat. Please review the last slide again. Yeah.
We have any appearing in chat by chance?
Did you get the previous slide, or is that, I'm not sure. I guess I'm not sure which one they're looking for. Okay, how many 1 to 2 person organizations have you coached through your methodology?
Oh, wow. I mean, 5 or 6 off the top of my head that I do it. And a lot of times I do it not necessarily in a formal way. What I do is I steer them down the path, and I help them get their thoughts together and to get their plan together using the DMAIC methodology, but they don't necessarily know that they're using the DMAIC methodology.
Can you roll that back one slide?
Yep.
And then hopefully that's the one the person was looking for. If you can let me know. Let's see. Have those 5 to 6 been able to report? Oops, sorry. When they're in chat, they move to report beneficial outcomes.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Have those 5 to 6 been able to report beneficial outcomes?
Yeah, because we've established the metrics by which they measure their business, and so they can turn to their some do it off spreadsheets, some have CRM systems, customer relationship management systems. Some, believe it or not, still do it on paper, but they are able to look at the measurement of their business and to see the outcomes of what they're doing.
And that
Yeah,
same person
metrics
is
are key.
based, oh, sorry. Yeah, that
No.
same person's kind of, they're saying what they're trying to find out is what's the time to the return ratio.
Well, that's going to depend on what market you're in. It's going to depend on what type of product or service you have to offer. It depends on your sales cycle. Do you have a short sales cycle? Do you have a long sales cycle? Generally speaking, though, through this plan, it's a good 3 months to really begin to see the benefits of what you've implemented. But if you have a longer sales cycle, it could take longer.
Okay. Somebody's asking about a website designer, but um,
Did you say there was a question about a website?
Oh, yeah, wondering if you know of a website designer.
Sure, send me an email. I could give you some references.
Okay. And you also might check out Rebloom. That might be one to include in that email to them.
Yeah.
We are a consulting company, and the challenges we see with our customers is a lack of data for tiny businesses. How would you convince the business to spend that much time and generating and cleaning those data?
Okay, we're a consulting company, and the challenge we see with our customers is the lack of data for tiny business. Is that their tiny business? Um, let's see. And then how would you convince the businesses to spend that much time generating and cleaning those? So you're obviously, I think I understand now, you're consulting with companies and you might perhaps want to introduce this to them. Um, and how would you convince them to take the time to clean up their data? You know, you just have to impress upon them how important data tracking is within your business, because nothing is worse than finding yourself in a situation where I'm not making any money, I'm not making any sales, I'm not leading any, and I don't know why. If you had gone through this process would have helped you identify the why. But it's data driven. And so, every business has data. Every business has to manage data. Every business has to pay taxes. Taxes are dependent upon data. So why not be using that data to market your business on a very scientific way?
How do you recommend a business evaluate the ROI of various marketing products available, paid ads, email, campaign tools, lists, etc.? Is the best approach to pay and try it, or is there another way to consider?
Yeah, can you run that one by me one more time?
Sure. How do you recommend a business evaluate the return on investment of various marketing products that are available, such as paid ads, email campaign tools, buying lists, etc.? Is the best approach to pay and try it, or is there another way to consider or to figure that out?
Well, certainly with any product that you're considering bringing into your business, that product probably has a review out on the internet. So the first thing you want to do is go out on the internet and just search for reviews. I'll take email marketing, for instance. You've got the two major players are MailChimp and Constant Contact. MailChimp offers a free version. Constant Contact offers a low cost version, but they charge for a version as does MailChimp for their premium version. But at any rate, so the first thing you want to do is go out and see if there are any reviews out there related to MailChimp and Constant Contact. Read up on the reviews. As I mentioned, a lot of companies have what's called freemium models, where you can try their product for free, and then they try to upsell you to their premium version. Then there are others that have low cost versions. I've got a basic version. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Bring it in and then, try it out, see if it works for you. For instance, when I was evaluating MailChimp and Constant Contact, I went out and I kind of think I'm, fairly technically savvy. I went out to MailChimp and I had nothing but frustration trying to figure out how to create something as simple as a newsletter using their platform. I went over to Constant Contact. I paid their low cost entry, went in. It was extremely intuitive. I had my newsletter up and running. And for me, that amount of money that I spent with them was more beneficial to me than the free version that I tried in their platform. And I've had people that have had great success with MailChimp. So it was just for me, I couldn't figure it out. But Constant Contact, I could.
As you look at data, what examples do you have of getting a good metric and filtering out noise? Are you looking at effects of your actions or other influences?
Yeah, so the metric is going to be what you measure success by. So, um, ultimately, you're probably measuring success by sales, um, but you could also be measuring success by your net income. You could be having a great uptick in sales, but you've also got a great uptick in expenses to bring that business in, and that could be affecting your net income. So most entities, what they measure their business by, the success of their business by, is going to be revenue. Excuse me, and that's usually measured on at least a monthly basis.
How do you suggest seamlessly transitioning into a new marketing strategy? If someone's business is already active online, would you suggest going offline while determining their DMAIC strategy?
Well, we used to have a saying in Verizon, excuse me, it was called that we would rewire the car with the headlights on, going 100 miles an hour. um, if you've got a going business and you just want to put some tweaks around it, I wouldn't disrupt what you're doing. I would look at this as a way to augment and do a better job of doing what you're already doing. Um, if you're starting at square zero, however, and you got a clean slate, this can be a way to just organize yourself and set a target. Understand, where do I want here's where I am today. Where do I want to be tomorrow, or somewhere down the road, and set that target up for yourself.
Can you expand on the guardrail concept? Is that to say that you should avoid distractions from the marketing plan despite new opportunities?
Yeah, no, the guardrail approach is, when you think about guardrails on the highway, it's to keep you from running off the road. Um, you're going to have external factors coming in and impacting your business at any given time. And you're going to have opportunities that show up, and you're going to have challenges that show up while you're running your business. The guardrails means that I'm going to stay focused on what I've set up as my plan, and I'm going to evaluate the things that are trying to impact my business. If I have an opportunity that impacts my business in a positive way, and it helps me achieve my goal, if my goal is more sales or more revenue, I'm going to bring that in. I'm not going to ignore that. I want to bring that into the business and help move my business forward. By the same token, as challenges come in, I have to determine, what is the impact of this challenge? Is this challenge, need to be addressed, or is this just, as you mentioned, is this just noise that's happening out there? This is all about keeping on track, keeping focused on what your ultimate goal is, and measuring your success along the way.
Okay, I think we caught everybody. I think we caught all the questions that have been submitted. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you everyone for attending today. Thank you, Rob, for sharing what you know, and I wish you all a great weekend.
Thank you, Teresa.